I couldn't help but thinking, watching the Whiskey Peak episode, that the various mercenaries in Baroque works are actually very, very talented musicians, um, singers, bartenders, bakers, cooks, all that jazz. And they could have a much better time just running a normal resort, as opposed to the resort that kills you.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, but where's the fun in that, though? You really got to think about it.
Where does the money really go?
My thing about the whole Whiskey Peak situation, especially after seeing it in live action, that operation fell apart eventually.
I don't know. They had a lot of people.
All it takes is the wrong person to show up, and for their case, the wrong
like
people were the straw hats. Yes, imagine. Okay, imagine the Whiskey Peak scenario. Whiskey Peak scenario. They're like, oh yeah, these pirates just rolled into town. Like, oh, we got these pirates.
We love you,
man.
pirates.
Oh
we
yeah, and also, they don't even have a bounty. They don't even have a bounty. They roll in a couple logs. Yeah, these guys are much. What was his name again? Marshall D. Teach. Yeah, we got him. And then that's the whole town right there, bro.
It's the whole town.
Whole town right there.
That'd be Ripperoonie.
It's a very risky business. That town could get undone by one Logia. Truly.
I love how much Blackbeards gets mentioned in this season.
Without being shown. I'm surprised.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't have a Blackbeard cameo. I'm glad they
show
held back.
A lot of people. We got a lot of cameos this season.
We have a lot of cameos. Well, we are talking about, of course, One Piece, the live action One Piece adaptation, season 2, out on Netflix. We're going to be covering the whole season. And I would say we reviewed the season 1 like a couple of weeks ago. And we had a good time with it, right? It was a decent adaptation. They did a lot right. Was not perfect, but out of all the possible anime adaptations we've had, it was very good, very entertaining. And I was so excited to see where they would take season 2. And I have to say, just right off the top, season 2 is, for me, even better than season 1. Like, it has exceeded my expectations. I had a great time. I think they really improved the different dynamics amongst the crew. The visuals are better. The music's better. And besides a couple of nitpicks, I think it's like a really great season of television. But that being said, I'm not the only person reviewing this. And in order to do this, I've done this in reverse. I appear to have introduced this in reverse. It happens. We are the Peak of Fiction podcast. We review peak fiction, be that anime, comics, movies, TV, and more. And of course, in order to do this, I have my grand co-hosts of the peak fiction crew. We have Supa O.
What's good, everyone? Let's get into it.
All right, we got Beto.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. And this will be a one piece of adventure. I did it again.
Try it again.
I did it again.
Try it again.
Sure, try it.
Yeah. And Great the Samurai.
Yeah, there were a lot of really fun sword fights this season, which really got me going. I'm really excited to talk about it, chat with you all about a great season of One Piece live action. And I'm really happy how Netflix has, in collaboration with Oda, brought One Piece to the masses through this platform. I've heard people talking about One Piece that never would even think to enter the 1,000 episode gauntlet, because it's a much more approachable series through what Netflix has done. So I want to give Netflix a shout out kind of at the top of the episode, for crafting something with this level of care and of this quality. We'll dive more into it later, but I want to give them a shout out to start things off for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And BaitZaDust myself. So I think I jumped the gun a little bit when I talked about my opinions on One Piece. But what are your opinions on One Piece, my fellow crew members?
Like you guys said, I really enjoyed it. It wouldn't be much of a stretch for me to say that this is like the best anime adaptation that has been released. But yeah, no, I enjoyed everything from I enjoyed the cast that they got for this, and like we kind of mentioned before in our original rant type review, uh, I generally enjoy how they took like the aspects of the show and they were actually able to make it work. Uh, and like we've said once before, One Piece does feel unadaptable. It have all the things that can't be adapted or couldn't work. It's honestly a surprise that this one did, but it really just comes to show that like when you have people passionate about a project and actually like the project that they're adapting, they could really make that piece of media excel in a different format. Again, if you want to get into One Piece, please either watch the anime or manga. You know what I mean? I don't think this is a good show. It's not a substitute. You know what I mean? You gotta you gotta put in your hours. I'm sorry. but but
Gotta clock in for that.
for as its own thing though, it's pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah. I'm not too well. I would say I'm a casual fan of One Piece. I definitely am not caught up with the manga. I have never started the anime, but with this show, it does give good cliff notes of what occurred in the manga and in the anime. It's not the best. It's definitely as what Supa said about that. This is not a substitute. This like just watching this and then your immediate fan. It's a really great TV show, and I'm not being a hater here, but I would say the live action One Piece is basically a YouTuber's dream of creating a live action version of One Piece. And because of its style and everything, look how it looks, it just looks like something that came from YouTube.
Actually, I have a different comparison point. I hear
Yeah,
you, but I have a
yeah.
different comparison point. Personally, I don't think it's a YouTuber. I think it's actually Tokusatsu. This is Power Rangers.
It's Power Rangers. Yeah,
It's actually just a really high budget Power Rangers. And I think that becomes more and more apparent as
Yeah.
especially the last couple episodes. I'm like, oh, this is Power Rangers.
yeah. The fight scenes are really like, I'm like,
I'm
that
here
looks
for it.
familiar. Yeah, but either way, I enjoy this. I'm not a big fan of live action adaptations, even though this one, I think I'm gonna. It feels like a paradox if I explain it about it. But either way, quite enjoyable show. Towards the end of season 2, I was like, okay, this is where the party starts, and this is a good show.
Okay.
All right, let's talk about it. Live adaptations of animated series. There's one that I really like. Outside of this one, I don't know. Some of you may be familiar with the series known as Rurouni Kenshin. It's one of my
It's made by
favorite,
Eiichiro Oda's best friend
Yeah.
and mentor.
Yeah. So take that how you will. But all things considered, Rurouni Kenshin was for me one of the most impactful series that I enjoyed growing up, and I love that. I've watched the original. I watched the remake that they made a few years ago, and then when I watched the live action adaptations of the films, they did a really good job actually of adapting that story to a live action format because it's a little bit easier, right? There's not much like it's sword fighting, it's historical fiction, it's political intrigue, it's classic sword fighting combat, it's beautiful cinematography. Not super hard to do an anime adaptation of that. It's far harder to do an anime adaptation of anything in the big three. Naruto has, chakra abilities, genjutsu, ninjutsu. Really hard to do a live action version of that. Really hard to do a live action adaptation of Dragon Ball. We've seen it attempted. It was bad. If you haven't seen Dragon Ball Evolution, don't even just save yourself. This is what I would call one of the best anime adaptations I've seen. It's probably in my top 5 anime adaptations of all time. It's pretty solid. I can tell like there are definitely moments that make me look at it and say, well, it's not perfect. It's pretty good. it's pretty good. And they tell enough of the story, and they pace it quite good to the point where you can really enjoy a lot of it. We'll dive more into details later, but like I think about the scene. Just as an example, if you've watched both the anime and you've also watched the live action, you may be familiar with Crocus and Laboon. Um, there's a comedic bit in the anime that is it eats time for comedic effect. And it is actually a very effective comedic effect, where it's literally just a back and forth scene.
Yeah.
Crocus looking at
Mhm.
straw hats and them losing their mind. Like they decided to omit some of those things to make the pacing better, and the pacing is very good. It's excellent actually. I would go so far as to say that the pacing is excellent. This live anime adaptation, they skip over some things, but I wouldn't say that they skip over anything that's extremely essential. They skip over things that a fan might say, "Wow, I hate that they didn't make a live action version of that part." And it's okay, like you'll survive. But I think overall they did a really good job of including all the essentials. Overall, I rate it pretty highly. I thought this season was better. I won't say far better, but I say quite a bit better than season one. Um, and not just because of not just because of the story, but because of the characterization. I think that improved a lot. I think the actors definitely got in their bag a little bit deeper. And I enjoyed the season quite a bit. A lot of good things to talk about. But yeah, that's my initial impressions.
I'll say what this season has is sort of more bravery in changes, right? And I think as we go on through the season and you describe it, there's a lot of changes between this and the original. And I think most of the changes are for the better. A lot of the changes come from having knowledge that probably not even Oda had when he first wrote it, right? Characters and things and, different bits and pieces that weren't there, that weren't present in the beginning that can be called back on because, logically it would be there, right? And for me, and this is going to sound hyperbolic maybe.
Yes, hyperbolic
But
if you can.
okay, it's kind of you could compare because I know you said like One Piece is not a substitute, right? This is not a substitute thing,
Yep.
but I think it's more this is his own thing, right? So if you want to enjoy it and not engage with the manga, that's fine. I think you're still going to enjoy it, and you could compare it almost to Game of Thrones, right? This is the hyperbolic part where Game of Thrones, the book, like if you ask any Game of Thrones book nerd, they will compare like all the different things that are in the novels that are not present in the show. The show deviates a bunch, right? And I would say up until the last couple of seasons, most people were okay with the show, even though the show was not the book. The book had more fantastical elements. From what I heard, there was different characters that died but came back in like different forms. It was a different beast, right? But these are two divergent paths, and I think because it's not just a straight copy, you can enjoy both things as their own separate entities, and not be like, oh well, they didn't do this, they didn't do that. I think especially as the series goes on, you will get an increase of things that they did not do.
Yeah, no.
And for your sanity, if you are a One Piece fan, you got to see this as just a different interpretation. Completely.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I was saying, don't use this as a substitute for the series, I was kind of meaning around the same thing that you were saying, where you have to treat this as its own different thing because it's not a copy of One Piece. Like it does have One Piece, and the plot beats are similar, or the same, and the really important aspects, but this is its own. You could really take this as its own thing. You know what I mean? uh Especially with like how couple, like Gray mentioned, how a couple of scenes were like changed or like taken, or even just plot points in general. Like we're gonna get to it, but there's some like interesting choices that they made in a couple of these episodes. I'm like, oh, okay, I wonder how that's gonna go out. And that's honestly the intrigue of me, because usually the issue with a lot of live actions I think they run into is that they're trying to appeal each live action kind of has an issue where it's like they're trying to balance appealing to the newer crowd that has never seen the project before, and also to the crowd that already knows the project. And it could always kind of fail because either they cater to one side but leave the other out, or vice versa, or it's a whole mishmash mess by the end of it. But with One Piece, I find they do that kind of like they balance that pretty perfectly, where it's like, yeah, this if you're a newcomer, you never seen the show, this is a very just enjoyable show on its own. But if you have seen the show and manga, and you're willing to go past you'll get past the changes, which I think you should. I mean, if you want to see your show, the show with the aspects or the changes not in it, just watch the show or manga. You know what I mean? But if you have seen the show, this as long as the vibe is still there and you can watch it and be like, oh yeah, no, I appreciate it. It's still a good story. It's still kind of the characters still have these interactions and the relationships. You can still feel that same or similar vibe to the original source. It's still good. So that's kind of how I feel about like how this live action's kind of reached out to its audience.
So
Yeah, I do want to say something about that briefly, because I agree with a lot of the points that you shared. I think, you may be familiar with people that are like, oh, like I watch Game in line with what they were sharing. Like, oh, like I watch Game of Thrones. I'm familiar with the story of Game of Thrones. There's people that are like, oh no, I've read the books for Game of Thrones. I'm familiar with the books and the publications. And those two people have two very different contexts as to this story. And there are parts of the story that are being displayed in TV show form that are catching up to where the books are at in some instances. And so a person who has read the books might say, hey, like this is where I'm at, this is where I'm at in the story, and maybe far ahead of a person watching the show. In the same way that person is reading the One Piece manga right now and is fully caught up with the One Piece manga. It's at a very different point of the story than someone who is currently watching the show. I think the same can be said of this live action series. I think someone that's like, yo, I watch One Piece. Yeah, I like One Piece. Like, oh, cool. Like, what'd you watch? Did you watch the anime or did you watch the live action? And based on that answer, a person may respond in some very different ways, and they may have very different ways of viewing the story and viewing characters and kind of their thought processes around with certain people's actions, because they're different. They're different enough. They're different enough where a person could watch them, if they watch only one version and they were trying to talk to a person who watched only the other version, things might get a little bit mixed up. They'd be like, wait a minute, like, you remember this scene from that moment? And you're like, what are you talking about? That never happened. They're like, did I spoil something for you? And like, yeah, but like, what about this happening in this location? Like, wait, who is that? What does that mean about that? Like, it can get things mixed up. I think in line with what many people have already shared, taking things at a bit of an individual level here will be a smart idea. So if you have only watched the anime One Piece and you're watching this review, you may be a bit turned around. If you've only read the manga for One Piece and you're watching this review, you also may be a little bit turned around. This is really this review is going to be heavily focused on the show, the live action show. That disclaimer is important before we jump into content, because these are three very different characters. I mean, admittedly, the anime and the manga are very closely tied. Very closely tied. This is not that. This is separate.
Yeah.
Take it as you will.
It's on that.
And I'll say, as we review it, we are caught up. And if something happens in there that relates to the manga at the point we were at, we will reference it. So, we'll give a disclaimer. We'll try to give a disclaimer when things pop up.
Spoiler alert!
Spoiler alert sign.
A little bit of a spoiler if you are strictly a live action viewer. We might say a couple words. Just be prepared.
Like hockey.
Right. That being said,
like Sabo.
Yeah, or
you might be like, who's that? Who's that, guys?
Yeah. Okay. So without further ado, We are starting with season 2, episode 1, beginning and the end. So it doesn't pick up. At first, I think we do a cold open, where we introduced to Baroque works, and this is original, right? This was not in the manga, but we have Miss All Sunday, Miss All Sunday, Mr. Five, and Miss Valentine storming Shellstown from season 1 in order to find the body of Mr. 7, who Zoro killed last season, which was a additional thing that they added in the TV show, but that was something that Oda said canonically happened like years ago, like in an SBS, right? They asked him like, "Oh, what about this and that?" And he said, "Oh yeah, Zoro fought this guy called Mr. 7." Like he's, in a little throwaway, but they incorporated that in last season, and now they're following it up in order to make Baroque Works a constant presence throughout the season as a central villain that will eventually set up their leader, Mr. Zero. I think this is a pretty good choice, in my opinion. And you get to see some of their power sets. The different devil fruits they have. Valentine has the kilo fruit, where she can make things heavier. She can make her body lighter or heavier. Mr. 5 has the bomb fruit.
Yes.
I believe.
Yep.
And he can turn parts of his body into explosives, so he's like flicking boogers. And
or breathing into a pistol.
Breathing into a pistol, yeah. And Miss All Sunday has the flower fruit?
Fleur.
Yeah, I believe, yeah. And that allows her to sprout arms and different body parts on whatever surface. And you know what? Her power? Pretty menacing.
Yeah.
Pretty menacing.
Yeah. The way she uses it is pretty menacing. Yeah.
And, I will shout out the costuming. Everyone is in very accurate, manga or like anime costumes. And they are tearing through this base. These Marines have no shot and no chance. And Robin, whatever. Robin.
There it goes.
Yeah, cat's out the bag, whatever. Her name's Nico Robin.
Yeah,
they say at the end of the season. I'm not doing this. I've already given up. I've already surrendered to this. Robin.
Wait, but no, they did reveal it. They did reveal it though at the end of the show.
They did.
Yeah.
They did.
Like Miss All Sunday's name?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because with the bounty poster.
I mean, hey, sure, but
I can't.
You can't call her Miss All Sunday?
I won't do it. I'm not
Why
doing
not?
it. Anyways,
Okay.
I don't know.
Nico Robin
Sorry.
kills a bunch of people. Like she, her hands are spreading out their heads or whatever. She's like, and so they're aiming their guns at themselves or each other or stabbing themselves or like break people's necks. Because she was, as she says, an assassin for a period of time. At this point in the story. And they get to Mr. 7, and, so now they're kind of pointed to the Straw Hats of like, well, we have to, take them on in kind of revenge for Mr. 7, but also to tie up these loose ends as, the Baroque Works are enacting their larger plan in Alabasta. It's a pretty good opening to these characters, puts you right in the action. And then we cut to Luffy and his introduction of his bounty poster on the mast of the mast or the masthead?
I think it's mast.
Yeah, of the Going Merry.
Yeah.
And the crew's together. They are going to sail to Logue Town. There's a fun bit where they're debating whether or not to go to Logue Town, and Usopp doesn't want to go because of the Marine presence. But everyone else is like, "Why well, I want to go shopping? I want to buy swords. I want to get food." Right? And I would say Usopp has a pretty good character arc throughout this story. He's played really well by Jacob Romero. He does a great job. Amazing characterization for this character, who is one of my favorite Straw Hats. So they make it to Logue Town, which is it's called the town of the beginning and the end. Because it is where the last, member, the Pirate King, right, Goldie Roger was executed. Or say Gold Roger. Oops. Anyways,
Dude, this is crazy.
That's
just
why
you've
canceled
seen the
the
show.
first
episode already.
I'm assuming
Wow,
you've seen
what's
all 8
happening?
episodes. Okay, I'm
and next
assuming you've seen all
Kaido
8
comes
episodes.
out. How did that come out? How did that,
Who's Kaido?
Anywho, it's where Gold Roger was executed, but it's also where the Great Pirate Era began, because that's when he kind of made his declaration and set everyone in pursuit of One Piece. So Luffy wants to go there to see the execution platform, right, as a kind of like tribute to the last guy that was there. And I think is that episode 2, I believe. That's what happened. No, I'll get to that in a bit. But so all the people are kind of assembling, and we're also introduced to Captain Smoker, who is a pretty impressive Marine. We see him; he's bringing somebody else back. He's tough. He has like 20 cigars on him.
But he's smoking 2 at this time.
He's smoking 2. Yes, he's smoking 2 cigars.
Bro. This dude's elite.
And and he has.
It's not for kids TV version. I'm telling you that now.
It is not. and he is like kind of like a tough guy, but at the same time you can see he's not a tough guy in the way of like other Marines where they're rude to people and stuff. He's still like nice to a kid, right?
Yeah, the ice cream scene was actually a really important scene that I'm happy that they put in there.
Yeah, because he's fundamentally a good guy, but he's just big like anti-pirate, and so he hears about different pirate activity, and he knows around this time there's always something happening because it's the anniversary, and they set this up to be like this is a big government anniversary day to celebrate the fact that they killed Gold Roger as a propaganda piece. And as they enter Logue Town is so beautifully rendered, right? The sets here are great. All the different towns. There's a bunch of different little Easter eggs for way future events. I think there's a shop that's like the Figureland, shop. Yes, there's a shop that has Figureland on it. There's a shop that has Mary.
Dang, bro, you caught that? I didn't.
Yeah. Is another shop that has the I cannot remember her. Man Mayer, the Man Mayer family is another shop.
Dang.
Yeah, real lore heads. Real lore heads. Pay attention to.
That's intense.
Things.
Is this what 120 SPSs do to you?
I did not notice this stuff, dude.
But yeah, there's a couple references to like I guess more like celestial dragon things, which is a concept they introduced later on. But Logue Town, very very like great sets, and all the different bit characters, while they don't have necessarily time to have all the different bit characters they had from the show, they are present in a lot of background shots. Now I did not see this because I didn't watch the anime, but if you watch the anime, there is like a filler arc with Usopp and Daddy the father.
Oh really? He's there?
Not Daddy the father, but the girl, the daughter, is there. She's the because she has the goggles that Usopp picks up.
Oh, I didn't. I didn't even keep.
This is what I saw online because that would have meant anything for me. But also the guy, one of the background guys who's selling clothing, and he has like the coat hanger hair attachment is in the background. Like there's so many different costumes and stuff going on, and it's just like a fun, vibrant place. And the crew splits up in different groups as they go to different shopping. Toro's looking for swords. Sanji and Usopp go for food. Nami wants to do her shopping. And Luffy is like going on his own.
Not yet. Luffy goes with Sanji to go food shopping. Usopp goes with Nami.
Usopp goes with Nami for regular shopping, yes. Yeah. And then Usopp, so they're doing their bits, and there's some really fun bits there where Nami like is looking at a book from her childhood, And, a great character moment of like, well, where Usopp tells her to get the book because then you can look back once you've made a map of the world, and see how they got it wrong. And Nami also says like, hey, maybe you can give Kaya, a call. Which that scene gets funnier in future episodes. But he does give Kaya a call and tells her, a little exaggerated version of their adventures. That's a sweet moment. And then Bartolomeo shows up.
Bruh, I was shook. I'm like, no way. I went when he passed by, I'm like, wait, is that my
I literally looked at my watch. Like, did I miss 500 episodes? Like,
so
what happened?
Bartolomeo is a character that's not introduced to Dressrosa, which is many arcs from here. And he is a Straw Hat fanboy, right?
Yeah. In the future.
Specifically a Luffy and Straw Hat fanboy who he was a criminal, right? And upon seeing the events of this episode, he got inspired by Luffy to like, beef up and to like, really step things up. And then he made like a criminal enterprise in Logue Town. Then after other events, he was like, oh, that's not good enough. This criminal enterprise I have, I'm going to be a pirate to pursue Luffy. And what they did was, and so since he was canonically there in Logue Town, they introduced him as his character who's just kind of there. Yeah. And he is kind of swept up in the middle of all the Straw Hat going-ons to be like, oh, wow, this Luffy guy is something else, or these Straw Hats are something else. And I think that was fun. He's a fun addition.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that take. I think it's a fun addition. I don't hate the fact that they chose to take some creative liberties by making characters that were in the background but that observe certain things taking place a bit more of a priority. This is clearly a setup for future seasons, and I don't hate it. I think I agree. It's fun.
I don't think they're going to address Dressrosa, but that's a whole different discussion.
You don't think so? You don't think that the story will make it that
actually,
long?
at the end, I want to talk about where we think it's going to stop, but I don't think they're going to Dressrosa. But that's a whole different.
That's a different conversation. Yeah.
So, we also get Tashigi introduced, who's one of like I think Smoker's like lieutenant or like underling, and she's a huge sword nerd, right? So when Zoro's in the shop, trying to purchase a high quality sword with like no money, she's there to kind of hype things up and like, oh, it's this and that. And at first the sword seller tries to scam him, but then Zoro does the cool thing where he picks up a cursed sword and says, actually, nah, I don't believe in the curse. And throws it up, sticks his arm out, and it doesn't get cut off. And the aura is so immense that the guy is like, dang, you're so cool. You know what? You get that sword, and here's another cool sword on top of it.
Here's actually the best sword in my shop, actually. Like, I'm going to give you the best thing that I actually have. The most expensive thing that I own is now yours. Thanks for kicking it.
Yeah. And Tashigi and Zoro have a nice little thing, and there's a bit where Tashigi looks like Kuina, I guess. If you squint real hard, you can connect those two. It works a little bit better when it's drawn than when with the live action people, but I guess if you squint really hard,
they literally chose someone that looks exactly like a grown up from the anime. Like that, like the anime, they were literally like we can literally just make it a copy paste thing. But in the live action, it's a little bit trickier.
Yeah. So things are converging. Sanji goes to buy some tuna. And at some point Luffy gets split up and does his own little thing and goes to the execution platform on his own. But that is when he gets entrapped by Buggy, who has been waiting for him because he wants to take his revenge. And also he's teamed with Alvida, who is back with the slip fruit. And I'll say the actress I want to highlight specifically, Ilya is... Oh, this is... All right. Ilya Isoralis Paulino. Actually, IRL lost... I don't listen. That's what connects to the show, but she lost like a lot of weight and did a personal kind of like fitness journey in between seasons, and like slimmed down tremendously. I don't know if it's for this role, but either way, she was looking great as Alvida for this season.
Yeah, good for her, man. She really put in the work. I think like a couple of other of the actors also like put in work. Like I think
everyone's
Sanji,
jacked. Everyone's jacked this season.
Yeah, I think Sanji actually was like doing like starvation diets and like wait, it's like, bruh, you know we got a stunt double for you, right? You don't gotta do this.
Yeah, you know.
But hey,
so
I like the passion.
they capture Luffy, and I think this is one of the first examples. We'll get into it. Of Luffy is a little nerfed this season.
A little bit, yeah.
He's kind of weak.
In what sense? Okay.
He gets knocked out a couple of times by like bonks to the head, and I understand why they did this, right? They want him to be more human, and they want his crew. They want the Straw Hat crew to function like as a team more, right? Instead of Luffy is very strong and handles everything, which happens a bunch in the manga because he's just strong. And you have to learn to detach manga power scaling from show power scaling. You know, you gotta just center yourself, calm down, breathe in, breathe out, let it go. So the show power scaling can't hurt you when Alvida hits him once in the head and he gets knocked out.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, she had the slip fruit, so this was different. You can't really equate old Alvida with just swinging a mace to a person that's using inertia. She's using inertia. She was spinning around. He was dizzy. He was like, whoa, I'm dizzy. And she hit him with a mace to the face after he was dizzy. I mean, that's going to have some kind of impact for sure.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to just say Luffy was weak and that's why he got knocked out. Like, there's some other factors at play too.
It's not the only time this happens, but
I'll say the show's power scaling overall, even from like season 1, had some wonky power scaling. Like, I still like it'll always get me that it took Luffy, Zoro, and Nami to take down base Captain Morgan. Which is insane from a manga standpoint, but it's such a funny thought.
So
collaborative effort.
Yeah, collaborative effort. So Luffy gets captured. He's going to get executed by Buggy, right? And there's this background thing of a storm coming. Smoker shows up. He's like, "Oh, these pirates are like acting up." And I think at some point Smoker's like, "Whatever, let the pirates kill each other, and then we can swoop in." And at the moment of Luffy's execution, right, when Buggy has a sword raised high, a lightning bolt strikes. And it's pretty fun because like Buggy just explodes into a bunch of pieces. Just pops, into a bunch of different pieces. And
pipes.
The execution platform, it gets destroyed. Of course, Luffy's unaffected because he's rubber. But before he was executed, or about to get executed, he laughed. He smiled and laughed. He was like, "Well, you got me." Right?
He actually says the words, "I'm dead."
I'm dead.
Laughs about it.
And the people around could feel the aura because they're like, "Wait, that was just like Roger." And I think Buggy gets a little extra characterization because I think Jeff Ward does such a good job as Buggy.
Yeah.
Because Buggy is a man, fundamentally, he's a man in his 40s, who used to be in the Pirate King's crew, and he just cannot stand the fact that this kid, right, this child is daring to stand where Roger stood, and to be like, "Oh, look, I'm a little Roger too," and it's a real like, you don't deserve this, right? I know who the Pirate King was. You're not it. Right, and I don't respect you on a fundamental level. I think he portrays it very well. So the crew regroup, and then they are fighting. Like they have a pretty cool fight scene. There's a good scene where I think Nami and Usopp team up to take Alvida. And Usopp does get a lot of good moments of ingenuity and little bits of like, where they can't hit her directly because of the slip fruit, but they're able to. Like he shoots a pepper ball while Nami stops it with her
Staff.
and she's removed the sandals from Elvita. So the inertia, like as she sneezes, she's kind of just blown back, and it cannot be stopped because of her own fruits. That was pretty fun.
Yeah, that's a good way to take it around.
Yeah. She literally
so,
attacks herself with her own mace because of that. It's pretty. I agree. It's pretty fun.
Tashigi fights Zoro a little bit, but Zoro outclasses her. Sanji and Luffy are trying to get away, and then Smoker shows up, and Smoker whoops him pretty badly. You know, early pre-time skip Smoker was a menace. He was until he wasn't, but for now he is a menace.
Yeah, Smoker's
and he's the first.
He was a menace for a long
time.
many arcs in the story in One Piece.
One might say he's the Garp to Luffy's Roger.
Oh my god, bro!
Nah, I'm just messing with you.
Yeah, you know. The
Not
treatment
quite,
of Smoker
but I see what
is
you're doing
a treatment of Smoker is a discussion for a different podcast. But for now, Smoker is impressive, and I don't think they say anything about Devil Fruit types this season, which is weird.
Not even
they
a little
introduced
bit.
two
Not
more.
Even once.
But they don't say the words Paramecia, Logia, or Zoan are not said.
Nope.
I guess.
I don't know why. Maybe they thought exposition, or they just want to keep Devil Fruits mysterious. But Smoker is a Logia type, which means his body is made out of an element, and he cannot be touched if he does not want to be, unless his body interacts with Sea Stone or an element that counters his. Or, much later, they introduce a secret third thing that can interact with Logia types. But for right now, at this point in the story, you can't really do anything about him. And he's about to subdue Luffy when suddenly a mysterious man shows up. The most dangerous criminal in the world, Dragon, appears. And, he's a pretty cool line, and he appears to use some sort of wind power to blow Smoker away.
Yeah.
That's up,
knows.
Wind beats smoke. I get it.
Who knows?
Now, I'll say this. Now, this is the first thing where I would say this is a spoiler for the future, that if you are strictly a TV show watcher, I will say maybe you want to keep this one. You want to skip ahead. But
yeah, move ahead by like 5 minutes.
No, 30 seconds. Anyways,
30 seconds.
I'll say this: Dragon is Luffy's dad, which is funny because they don't say that here. I don't think they reveal. Did they reveal Dragon's Luffy's dad in the manga at this point?
No, not yet. Luffy uses something like, what did that guy do?
Which is funny because there's another scene in the beginning of the second episode that sets up a different person as Luffy's potential father. And if you were a TV show only viewer, I could see you being confused and you speculating that Luffy's father is in fact Roger.
Yes. That would be confusing because I see what you said there. Yeah. I get it.
Yeah, I mean, I think they did it on purpose,
Yes.
just to, misdirect. And it raises two things. One, that Roger has a kid. If we never seen One Piece before, the idea now would be, okay, Luffy's clearly the son of Goldie
Yes,
Roger.
yeah. If I've never seen One Piece, that's what I would think. 100%. I think it's a fun misdirect.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I think it's cool. And they did reveal someone else at the end of the episode 1 as well. Right behind Dragon.
Sabu shows up. They got some blonde boy to show up in a steampunk outfit. And just to walk out of a door and be like,
and he's
just stand there for a quick second.
Very blurry, so you just kind of see his silhouette a little bit, like the color of his clothes. You're like,
that is the funniest cameo. That's the funniest cameo.
Yeah, that was a great cameo. That was great.
Which it's one of those things.
I was entertained.
Technically correct, but still extremely funny just to have him there.
Because we do not see that character in the main storyline until the same arc that we see Bartolomeo.
He's not relevant to post-time.
Bartolomeo.
time skip. Yeah.
Which is, and now I'm like, wait a minute. Are we just referencing all of these characters from the Dressrosa arc in this one season over and over again that we shouldn't meet yet? Like,
I'll just love
apparently
it
at
if, like,
some point there is a bounty poster for Pedro in the background.
Really, I didn't even peep.
that's interesting.
I feel like I would have noticed that because the animalistic
I don't know if it's in
humanoids look kind of.
I don't know if it's in Logue Town, but I know somewhere in this season there's a bounty poster for Pedro. 100%.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, this season is chock full of like Easter eggs. There's some things that peeped my eyes and ears too. But we'll get
I
there.
gotta rewatch this show again.
I feel like next season we're definitely gonna start getting some hints on like the supernovas. I feel it.
Oh yeah.
But so I think that's so they escape and they're like, wow, we did it. Now let's get ready to proceed onwards to the Grand Line, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the second episode opens, as we brought up, with Roger and Garp talking in the cell before Roger execution, and then you get a bit where, you know, it's like, wow, we had a lot of adventures together, and you know, while we're publicly enemies, we're also friends, you know, because we fought all this time, and we don't really hate each other, and it's not a thing where it's even I want to kill you. And we also reveal that at this point in his life, Roger was sick, right? He was physically ill. In addition, which would put into doubt of like, well, you know, how did they capture you? What are the circumstances of this? Yada yada. They also name drop God Valley. Because sure, you could.
I mean, they got the knowledge.
I mean, God Valley is something that made Garp a hero.
Yeah,
he is a hero of God
and
Valley.
I feel like they've referenced it. I think even in the manga and in the show they reference it very early. Like, this is the hero of God Valley, but they don't. They don't mention God Valley until very late.
No, God Valley as a concept doesn't exist until like Wano, man.
Okay. maybe and you know what? Because I read and watched this series a long time ago, I easily could have misremembered.
They call Garp the hero of the Marines, for sure. They definitely call him the hero of the Marines, but they don't say the words God Valley.
The location. Okay.
Yeah. Until I think somewhere between like I think the Reverie actually between Whole Cake Island and Wano is when they bring up God Valley.
God Valley. Okay. All right. Yeah. So then, there's a lot of early name drops. Like God Valley. What is God Valley? You don't know yet, and you won't know for a while.
Probably a fun, happy place.
The hero of fun, happy place. Got you.
Right?
Yeah. So
have a good time.
So then we have the crew, and we have a pretty cool scene of the crew like going up the reverse mountain and trying to navigate through this extremely treacherous zone over there. They basically, it's a roller coaster ride when you have to go up this mountain, get through the straits. At some point, they're trying to like make a turn, and Zoro like breaks the turning mechanism, so Luffy has to use his stretching powers to kind of grab onto the rocks and readjust the ship. And it works out. They get past the hump, and then it turns into kind of a roller coaster drop. And they meet up with Laboon, the big whale. There's a big whale at the end of it that swallows the ship, and Luffy is flung outside of the ship while the rest of his crew are eaten by the whale. And this is another big change from the original story, because in the original story, Crocus, I think they all end up in the whale.
Yeah,
Crocus lives in the whale.
Yeah.
Crocus has like an apartment, like, you know, kind of set up in the whale, and all this stuff's there. But in this one, he lives outside of the whale in a lighthouse.
Yeah.
And I don't hate it. It's one of those things where him being in the whale was a goofy One Piece thing.
Yeah.
But the lighthouse set, I don't think the lighthouse setup diminishes anything, to be honest.
That's fair. I personally, I don't get wrong. I don't think it takes away like anything from the the episode. But I would have liked to have seen them do the set piece with the inside of the wheel being painted, and like Gray mentioned earlier, that bit with Crocus says when they first meet, and he's just like, man, it's if he says something along the lines of like, you better watch yourself, or someone will get hurt, and then Zoro's like, oh yeah, who? Do do do.
So great.
That's one of those
Because it
things where
seems
it's
like such a cold line. Like, you fire that weapon, somebody's gonna get hurt. And everybody's like, yo, what's he saying? Like, what's he gonna do? Like, how's he gonna do it? It's like, nah, I'm gonna get hurt if you fire that weapon at me.
Yeah.
Like, yo, what? It's such great. I ain't gonna lie, bro. Like, there's some moments in One Piece that made, like the anime, that made me laugh out loud with how funny they were. Like absolutely hilarious.
Oh yeah,
And but there's just too many things to fit inside of this too many things to fit inside of this live action series. So this is they have to cut things out. I get it.
So I for me it is, I think this season actually pretty funny, but there's a lot of it's the crew banter. The crew has a very good dynamic between them. They made Zoro more of a himbo this season. He's just a little bit more stupid, but in a fun way. Like when
more navigation involved.
Yeah. When he breaks the thing, and like Zoro and Nami's like, oh my word, when you broke the steering with your like big arms, and he's like, he's like, don't take that as a compliment.
It's not a compliment.
like stuff like that I think really works. Like Zoro's very goofy. In this, so you have Luffy hanging out with Crocus, right? And Crocus is a grumpy old man, and you have the Laboon where he's this big whale that keeps slamming his head into the red line, trying to get through. And Crocus has to put Laboon to sleep for a little bit, like all the time, so that the whale doesn't like injure or kill itself in this process. Meanwhile, the rest of the crew is inside of the whale, and they have to figure a way out because they're being the ship can be digested, and as they're exploring the inside of the whale and different destroyed ships, because I think they're looking for something that they could use to fix their ship. They run into Baroque Works members, Mr. Nine and Miss Wednesday. Right? BB Wednesday?
Mr. Nine and Miss Wednesday.
Miss Wednesday. And in this season, since it's more Baroque Works heavy, instead of the bounty posters, they have the cards, the calling cards of the Baroque Works members with the little, like, each one has their own Jolly Roger. And I think that was really cool. That's a cool addition.
That's a cool detail.
I mess with it. I do prefer the wanted posters more. But like with Baroque Works and being how their whole code name deal they got going on, and how the organization works. I did like the I did like the Jolly Rogers being animated for them.
Yeah. So Mr. Nine has his gimmick. He has two baseball bats and he wears a crown, and all that jazz. And Vivi has these yo-yos? Yeah. Right, yo-yos. Peacock slicers, I think is what they're called.
Yeah. Held by string.
Yeah. But they get taken out pretty easily. And they get captured. And I think at this point they're still trying to figure out like what to do and how to, get out. Zoro has an idea of like, I'm gonna make a really big stick and hit the uvula. And they're trying to do their own thing. Usopp almost dies, and they all have to like grab him and pull him back on the ship. But Luffy at this point gets a backstory on Laboon, where we see a relevant future character, Brook.
Yes, sir.
Where they do the Brook flashback now. Well, part of the Brook flashback. Brook, enjoy him with his nice beautiful melanated skin. He's
I'll
so
dancing
good.
off.
Brooke
Yeah,
is
enjoy this
yeah.
version of him while you can.
While you can.
That's a valid statement.
But Brooke is fantastic. Brooke and the Rumbar Pirates, Brooke and Corky, you got the rest of the guy, they're all playing music. And they traveled, I think, from the West Blue, I believe.
Yeah.
And they had a whale that was following them. And, that sings along with them, and they all love the whale. But Kroger suggested, that's a bad idea to take the whale with you into the Grand Line in all this danger. And, anything could happen to it. So they're like, yeah, we're going to separate for now, but we'll definitely come back. But they don't come back. Yeah. They just disappear completely. Man. And this kind of breaks Laboon's heart. And Laboon is constantly, he's too big to go through the Grand Line. Keeps slamming it, the red line. He keeps slamming his head into it repeatedly, like trying to get back to Brooke because he can't accept that Brooke is gone.
Yeah, I thought they adapted that that whole backstory with him pretty well. And later down the line, if we ever do get to that point, they'll reveal the other half of the the other half of that whole thing of why they couldn't return. But them putting in Brooke, it makes sense, and I was glad that they did, because I don't know if Oda even thought about Brooke when Laboon was first created. But Brooke's cool
because they were just generic pirates, right?
Yeah,
at that point.
Yeah. But yeah, no, and the Rumbar is a good vibe,
Yeah, he looks great. He looks perfect. I know some people, some people were a little upset at the fact that a brother is playing Brooke. And to those people, deal with it, accept it, is what it is. You may say now you may pull up the official nationality chart that Oda made, where it is like, Brooke is from Austria. Who cares? You really take Oda as your canon source?
Yeah, and he wrote the thing.
And also Oda had a huge hand in the casting. Like a lot of these casting choices were Oda. I think Vivi is another example where Vivi was a pick from Oda, because Oda in this kind of retelling wanted a person that was going to be like Indian or Middle Eastern descent for the nation of Alabasta, and was kind of basing the other people he casted for the Alabasta characters as whoever he kind of got for Vivi. So I don't know, take it up with Oda, I guess, if you were really that upset that this is a racially diverse cast. But we love it.
Nonsense.
And everyone does a fantastic job.
They do, yeah.
I've seen so much disingenuous, I can't believe they wokeified One Piece post in the past, week.
Wokeified is crazy.
Because One Piece is
are
already
you watching
woke.
it? Are you watching the
yeah,
show?
are you
what do you?
Yeah.
What's happening right now? Are you just looking at skin colors? Or are you actually watching this show?
I have
watching clips on TikTok.
I have
People are so dumb. It's funny. There's no way you're watching the show if you say it's wokeified because they made BB black. Relax.
I have that I watched the show through TikTok clips. All right, so I'm pretty sure I know what my show was.
Yeah, the multiple arcs where they talk specifically about race and how everyone is equal. No, that just went over your head.
The fishmen are
wokeified.
just fish
You wokeified on the live action.
The fishmen are just fish people, fictional, and nothing has ever happened to.
I literally saw somebody say,
bro,
I saw somebody on X, the Everything app, say that they're making
brother.
One Piece woke because Mr. 2 Bon Clay is non-binary, the actor. And I'm like, what are we? Did you watch
the show?
Did you read? Did you read? Did you read with your eyes?
I could be mad that they made Mr. 3 white. I could be, but I won't be Because who cares?
Exactly. You got one. Aren't you happy?
I could be.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I'd be mad about
You
that.
got one.
Season 3 was a black man. Season 3 was
It's a trade. We traded.
He was
We traded.
1,000,000,000% a black guy. And he just chose some random white dude to play. I should say random. He's a pretty good actor.
Yeah.
But like, I was just like, come on. I was like, I looked at it and I was like, you know what? Sure.
You win some, you lose some.
Sure. You win some, you lose some. Literally, I was like, okay, yeah. I see what y'all did there. Not mad at it either. I get it. I understand.
But it kind of ends with Luffy kind of getting inspiring Laboon and being like, hey, you got to accept things how they are, but it's all right. And he sings the Bink Sake, which is the song that Brooke sung. And that's one of the most, the big popular song in the One Piece world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bink's a Sake, yo.
I'm sorry. I've been watching a little too much One Piece YouTubers, so sometimes I will say a Japanese term for something that has a perfectly good English definition translation.
Bink's Brew is what I've always seen it. Okay, it's the first time I've heard that. I'm sorry.
I've always seen it Bink Sake. But that's fun.
Yeah, it's one of those things. If you watch certain creators or if you're in certain communities, they will always say like the fact that we say Yonko instead of Four Emperors, right? Even though Four Emperors is the direct translation, we say Yonko and we'll say Mugiwara or Nakama or whatever. Because that's just how it is.
Woo, man!
And
I hate that I won't hear that in the series at all.
Luffy does a certain little dance, when he's cheering up Laboon.
Was he doing a Nika dance?
He was.
Oh, I didn't even peep that. I didn't
a little bit.
That's what's up.
And so they
of liberation.
Yeah. So they paint Laboon. Well, at this point, like Laboon opens his mouth, and the Laboon opens his mouth, and then the crew is released. They all get back together, and then they paint Laboon the straw hat symbol, and they're like, "All right, no more slamming your head into the red line, but we'll be back. We promise." So they head out to Whiskey Peak, which is a town that supposedly loves pirates. Okay, this is episode 3, Whiskey Business, and
we said who's on the boat.
Oh yes, and then Vivi,
Mrs. Wednesday and Mr. 9.
Mr. 9 are on the boat, and I believe, this is around the time when I think Miss All Sunday / Robin shows up and threatens them, right?
Yeah.
Not yet.
Wait, no.
Is it this early?
No, it's actually after, because Vivi joined the
after.
It's later.
Yeah.
It's later. She hasn't shown up yet. They haven't. They don't meet her until after. No. Because
this is when they escape, and like even though they're treating them very well and stuff, they jump off the ship and escape, and and we get hints that there's something else going on with Miss Wednesday besides being a Baroque Works member. So they go to Whiskey Peak, and it's a really cool town. And they're like, "You're pirates! Wow, that's great!" And Whiskey Peak has these big, kind of like it looks like it has giant cactuses. It appears to have giant cactuses all around it.
I guess they kind of are cactuses, giant green thing with spikes.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's like it has all these different amenities. It's fun. Everyone's drinking. Everyone's having a great time. It has the most banging song in this season because the whiskey. If you look up the Whiskey Peak Saloon, is this amazing song that they play when they're in the bar, and Ingram is going hard on the saxophone.
He's going crazy, man.
He's going crazy on that sax, and I guess you said in the beginning, man. Just open a regular. Just you guys, clearly you're talented. You're all a bunch of talented people. But
you know what a great way to use my talents is making money,
scamming people.
Yep. And as it turns out, Whiskey Peak is not a nice town that loves pirates. they are all Baroque's works, assassins, low tier assassins, that kill pirates in the Grand Line. And the spikes from the cactuses are actually all little crosses from all the different pirates they've killed. So that's a pretty cool detail. And so one by one, the Straw Hats are kind of lured out into different spots to get killed, including one part where Sanji and Usopp go on a 2-man that goes wrong. And even though Usopp has a girl at home, he unfortunately has, as they bring out at the very end of the season, Luffy has the Will of D, right? But Usopp has the Will of D.B, which is the Will of Deadbeat. And the deadbeat genes are coursing through his veins, as Yasopp was like projecting to him.
He's not married to Kaya, bro. That's not like he call a vibe, but they not like booed up for real. Like that's not his girl.
But yeah, Yasopp was somewhere where it's like
about?
that's my boy, that's my son. Am I running out on your commitments?
That's just sick work, bro. Allow you to paint this picture. This is a sick picture.
It's that scene of Shake skip passing Straw Hat to Luffy, but instead passing his deadbeat. That's the Usopp.
He's passing the milk jug. He's passing him the
milk jug. Now you will go out and get milk.
Yeah.
And not come back home.
The will of DB is strong in the One Piece world.
That's crazy, bro.
Many pirates bear the will of DB.
This is a crazy narrative.
So unfortunately, the 2-man goes wrong, and they're captured. they're tied up. And Nami almost gets jumped, but she kind of fights her way out. Zoro was faking how drunk he was, because Zoro is a primetime alcoholic, and regular drinking ain't gonna do it for him. Okay,
yeah,
he needs something a little stronger.
Message. I know what the message would be in this.
Yeah,
drink more.
Well, I'll say this about the One Piece.
He literally said, "You could have bought me a drink first." I'm like, "All right, bro. How many more drinks are gonna buy you?"
the One Piece manga, I feel, is extremely pro drinking and smoking, which is pretty great for a story that is aimed at young boys and men.
Shonen.
It makes. Man, One Piece makes cigarettes so cool. It makes cigarettes look so cool, bro.
Yeah,
There's so many characters in One Piece are just smoking, and they have like so much aura, and it really it does feel like a big smoking advertisement. I'm just saying, maybe that's like the actual the true hand running One Piece is Marlboro.
I mean, I will say the cigars look cooler than the 6 to me. Personally, like Garp, Smoker, bro, they just be like,
but Sanji,
giant cigar, like, all right, bro, y'all are farming like crazy right now.
Hey, but got a light.
Yeah, smoking has never looked so cool, and also conversely, drinking also looks really cool in One Piece, man.
Man,
it's like, wow, there's no downsides to this. Actually, we love just drinking in excess and smoking, and there actually is no downsides, kids. Remember this.
But before I started drinking, bro, I used to look at Zoro and be like, "Yo, this drink gotta be like A1, dog. Like he drinks so like this must be like I gotta get in on this. Like, look at how happy Zoro looks. He wants more of the substance."
Yeah, One Piece might be a bad influence on the children. But
what the kids need
we get a very great scene. Zoro pops off in this episode because it's a big bit, like in the manga, where Zoro fights 100 members of Brokeworks, and this is a really cool battle. He's going through like the floors of this bar, the saloon. He's taking more and more people out. and he's counting them.
Can I talk about this for a moment?
Please.
So, Gray the Samurai, you probably have deduced that I'm a big sword nerd. There's this internal thing going on with Zoro, something akin to a mix between shadow boxing and a severe inferiority complex. And before they landed on Whiskey Peak, he was in his mind battling Hawkeye.
Yep.
Mihawk. You know, it's funny because Luffy called him Hawkeyes, and I just can't get the statement out of my head.
Yeah.
Mihawk.
Name.
Yeah, it's very funny. But because of that, now Zoro is constantly in his brain seeing images of Mihawk taunting him. Like Mihawk was just like, a frog can't survive on the Grand Line. He's just like, I was like swinging 3 swords, trying to like fight Mihawk with a little pocket knife. He's like, dagger. Like it's easy. Like he's barely breaking a sweat, and he's mocking him, right? So we get to the saloon scene that Beta's about to describe, and after, which is a lot of people. It's a lot of people. After Zoro has essentially beaten about 40 members of Baroque Works, Mihawk is taunting him because he got hurt after beating the 40, and he's like behind a table. It's like shielding himself behind a table, and Mihawk just like, hope you got some more strength left. Because you got about 60 more to go. You're not even halfway done. You kidding me? And I personally, so just viewing this, I found the Mihawk internal monologue to Zoro extremely humorous. I found it extremely humorous because it adds in a layer which I feel like is a bit of a weakness in how they write Zoro in the live action, of him just not having much personality, and they almost like strong arm personality by creating a rival for him that is constantly nagging at him, even when he is kind of like down on himself. He's just like bro, like you can't even take out 100 guys. Like you want to catch up to me? Are you kidding me? Like you're not even strong enough to beat 100 weaklings. This is ridiculous. So we're like, all right, well, I got to kick it into gear. Now I got to like start doing the mathematics on it. And like the rest of the fight is just like insane. It is probably some of my favorite fight choreography I've seen in any live action series since Kenshin. So I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna let Bait continue. But I had to give a shout out to the Mihawk cameos in Zoro's mind. I thought they were really skillfully done.
Yeah, that's a cool addition for sure. Yeah. But yeah, so Zoro beats up the guys, and then also fights Mr. Nine, and then eventually faces Miss Monday. Who's the nun?
Yes,
boxer. Yeah.
Yes, Miss Monday with the brass knuckles. Yeah.
See, and they did cut the part where
he grabs her head.
where Zoro's grabbing this black woman by the face, and like it's just he's holding her, and she's like on her knees, and it's like, you know, they said, you know, maybe we don't do that. We can't. Zoro has to beat some of these allegations.
And in the manga, she was like way taller than him.
Yeah, she was like built.
She was so built in the manga and in the anime, bro. She was huge. Oh, it's funny.
So they and meanwhile, Luffy is he's eating his treats, and then there's a bit with I forget what his code name is.
Mr. 8.
Mr. 8 and Miss Wednesday, where they're communicating, and it's a real like, we gotta go. We got no time. And Luffy is like, I get good vibes from you, right? Both of you. Even though you're like bad guys, I do get good vibes from you. So they do the thing from the manga, the one ability that I think Miss Wednesday does exactly one time and never again. And that's the hypnotic peacock dance. Sure, why
We're
not?
back. Hey, we're getting Vivi
I
back.
mean,
Post time skip, you know.
she can't do it again because she doesn't have anybody to play the
This
music,
is
bro.
true. This is true.
If she was on a
Hey,
crew with Brooke, bro, it would be over.
It would have worked on me.
Without music,
Without-
I don't think it
About
would have worked
music,
on
about
you.
music. It would have worked on me.
Okay.
It had a different effect on you, brother. You're not going to sleep at all. He's up late night.
So they escape. So they're making their way in Whiskey Peak, and then it comes a thing where it's like, well, we got to work together because other Baroque Works agents have showed up. Mr. Five and Valentine have shown up, and to kind of clean up. And now it becomes a case of like, we have to get out of here. And another example of nerfed Luffy. Manga Luffy would have not run from Five or Valentine.
yeah.
Manga Luffy would have just smoked them out, but that's like, hey, different power scaling. Let it go.
Yeah. I will say this.
Let it go.
I feel like Luffy this season, there's some aspects of the character from the manga that I feel like they kind of eased up on or changed. Like he's not as abrasive or as reckless. I mean, he still kind of like does what he wants, but there is like a level of like, not that Luffy's dumb in the manga, but there is like a level of the live action Luffy thinking before his actions, or before he does anything, which is kind of like, I don't know. Luffy always kind of follows his gut. You know what I mean? But sometimes in this season,
Luffy is a strange guy. Or like even the manga, because my thing is, well, Luffy, especially early on, might have lacked like certain, I guess intelligence, right? IQ, you would say. But Luffy always has, in my opinion, an extremely high emotional intelligence. And his ability to pick up people's emotions, even though it may not come across in a traditional way, he does understand how people think and feel, and he'll be there for them, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I do hear what you're saying, and also Ingram dies. He blows up. They kill Ingram. they just kill him.
Yeah. I mean, he covered for everyone else to get free, so that ended up. That was a good scene.
Blaze of Glory.
He did blow up in the manga also, but then he was fine later.
You don't gotta spoil it.
What?
That he comes back.
He was fine later.
He's fine.
I don't think Ingram's coming back.
I mean,
well, he shouldn't have come back before the series either.
I think he's dead.
I think live action is gonna bring him back because it wasn't.
I don't know what they're gonna do
Because it wasn't.
Okay. Here's my thing. Here's my thing. Yeah, but like his purpose, you don't need Ingram.
That's the same thing with the show, though. But he still came back.
I know, but what I'm saying is this show will straight up kill people. Like they killed the butler from last season.
Yeah, but right? I was like one.
I'm pretty sure Ingram's dead, dog. I'm pretty sure Ingram's dead.
We don't know yet.
You know who's getting packed up next season? Pell.
Packed up.
I don't know.
Pell, you're gonna see Pell get atomized in like 4K. You're gonna see every molecule in his body be torn apart in slow motion.
You're not ready for it, man.
We'll see. We'll see. But I don't know. I don't think Ingram. I think Ingram's still kicking, especially because they cut away from the explosion.
Okay. Sure, man.
You act like One Piece don't get.
I know, but the show has different rules. The show's operating on different rules.
Some people died in the series, bro. I mean, like, in both
now
series.
I hope Mr. Nine didn't die because Mr. Nine didn't want to give up Vivi, even though he knew what's going on. And then, the implied Valentine took him out. But as we know from if you pay attention to cover stories, Mr. Nine goes on to have a beautiful interracial son with Miss Monday.
Really? I actually did not know this.
It is in one of the cover stories of like different, like, you know how they do different people around the world, kind of like, you know, update cover stories.
Yeah.
But yes, yeah. Miss Monday and Mr. Nine get together, and they have a son.
Oh, good for him.
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's.
Did you not know this? This is new
I
information.
did not know that Mr. Nine and Miss Monday have a kid.
You just gotta pay attention. Gotta be tapped in.
Yes, you're right.
Now we have Big Trouble in Little Garden. I think this is where Robin shows up before, like on the boat. And she is threatening the crew, and no one can really do anything about her. Because of her power set, and like she steals like Luffy's hat. And you know, she's like, I'm giving you a chance. Here's a log pose to just a random island. Go take that and, you know, get out of here. But if you're going to keep going, you're going to keep pressing on, there will be trouble. There will be problems. And this is one of the first hints we get where Miss All Sunday or Robin is not purely working for the bad guy, Mr. Zero. She does appear to have her own kind of like agenda. And you do get the feeling that she does not necessarily want to kill the Straw Hats or Vivi. And she has some other plays going on. But this around time we do reveal that she's Vivi, who is the lost princess of Alabasta, right? Ingram was the captain of the Royal Guard, and they're trying to go undercover for Baroque Works in order to get information to save her kingdom, which is on the brink of civil war. So now they're traveling with the Straw Hats, and they're, you know, they say, oh, you know, we'll help you. We're gonna help you get to Alabasta. And multiple times Vivi is like, I just drop me off somewhere. I'll figure out my own way. I'll do this and that. But the crew is very much kind of rallies around her, in spite of this.
Yeah.
So they get to Little Garden, which is this kind of tropical island that's like it's prehistoric. So it's dinosaurs, and these are kind of big, cartoony dinosaurs, and like T-Rexes and Brontosauruses and like all this other stuff going on. And also, as the first encounter, they have giants.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, and the two different groups meet up with giants. Where I think Sanji and Zoro are hunting. They hunt a T-Rex.
Yeah,
they're going after food, and then they have the debate about who killed this T-Rex. Where Zoro's like, "Well, I stabbed him in the abdomen, so I killed him," and Sanji's like, "Yeah, but my kick broke his neck, so I killed him." You know, and that's a constant, like, you know, debate between the two. And meanwhile, Luffy and Vivi run into Dory.
Yeah.
And Usopp and Nami run into Brogy. And Usopp is spinning his tall tales and hyping himself up to the giants as like Usopp the Destroyer, right? No, Usopp the Lord of Destruction.
Yeah.
Right? In all his different stories.
There you are.
And, you know, Brogy, he really likes Usopp, and Usopp's inspired by the giants. He wants to be like them. He says, you know, I want to go to Elbaf one day, because that's where I will, you know, it's almost as if in this moment they're setting up Elbaf to be a culmination of Usopp's character arc. And it's funny because this is based off the manga that Oda wrote years ago, and we're at Elbaf now.
Yeah, wow.
And
coincidence.
I'm still waiting for that character arc to kick in for Usopp.
It's Usopp's arc, right?
I'm in constant agony every day.
No, we still got like 5 chapters. You know, surely
you gotta have faith. That's right. You gotta have faith. That's all we have left.
But yeah, did you notice I don't know if it was in the next episode, but they showed Ida and Doria Brogy's like
the statues.
Yeah, you notice the statue of Loki?
Yes, yes. They have a little statues, and one of the statues is Loki, but not Loki as we know him now, but Loki as That's the silhouette that he first showed up in many chapters ago. There's also a statue of Nika.
Yeah, I peeped that.
And they talk about Nika, the sun god Nika that they worship in Elbeth. But the thing is, Dory and Brogy are both giants who've been on this island for 100 years? And they've been battling every single day, dueling to the death, quote unquote, over some sort of debate that they don't even remember what the debate was. But all they know is they go out and they battle. But in spite of that, they are best friends. They're best friends. They love each other's company. And for all the talk of dueling to the death, I don't think they're really necessarily putting it all out there. I mean, so some stuff happens for sure, but
I think they are. I think they're too evenly matched.
Yeah,
it's been ending in a tie.
It is funny, I guess. They decided in their duel that they were going to do no hockey.
No, it's invisible. It's invisible.
Hockey?
Oh, it's invisible.
What's that?
Yeah, what's that?
Finally,
but yeah, so Dory. Both Dory and Brogy are great.
Sport where you hit a puck with a stick?
Yeah, something like that. I would say both of them are great. The visual effects for the Giants are great. They're fun characters. But the piece is soon broken by the other Works members who have arrived. So Mr. 5 and Valentine are there, as well as Miss Golden Week and Mr. Free. And Mr. 3 has the wax fruit, where he can generate candle wax that he can shape into different objects, and his wax is as hard as steel. And Golden Week does not have a devil fruit. She can just do that. She can just paint colors on you that hypnotizes you. It's not a devil fruit,
but I think it is.
Oh, it was a devil fruit?
Nah, it's not. I don't know about that, man.
Check the wiki.
Well, I think they explain it a lot better in the show, but it's like a hypnotic paint that she's using.
Yeah, it's hypnotic paint.
Like to say, yes,
it's like psychedelic.
She doesn't have a devil fruit, bro.
Where's the fruit? Where's the paint from?
It doesn't matter.
It's a drug.
Yeah,
she just has
it. She just has it. It's like Polly with the rope. He can just do that, man.
Interesting.
Don't think about it. Sometimes you can just do it.
I guess
it's ridiculous.
It's an item. It's an item. I don't.
It's an item. I don't know. She can just do that.
Is this something? Where's the nearest Home Depot where she can get this
shop?
But yeah, I think she paints. She paints a color on Zoro that makes him happy, and giggling and laughing. And he can't focus on anything. I think she paints a color on Nami that makes her super apathetic, and a color on Luffy that makes him sad, and it kind of disables the crew. So Vivi, Luffy, Zoro, and Nami are kind of captured. Sanji's out doing his own thing. Usopp, falls down on a cliff, and then I think at this time when the giants go do their duel, one of the giants' beer was poisoned, the ale was poisoned. So he suffers there's an explosion that happens internally, and Brogy is seemingly killed by Dory. And Dory's very sad and torn up about it, but he goes to do his thing, and he gets stopped by Mr. 3. All around bad situation. And the only people who can provide assistance right now is Sanji, but Sanji is doing his own thing, and Usopp. And I do not believe this is how it was in Little Guard. I think this is a pretty big deviation. But they turn Little Guard into Usopp's personal arc of growth. And it is beautiful.
Yeah, it is great.
Where Usopp has to learn to be brave, in his own way. Even though he's not strong enough to fight these people, he's able to figure things out on his own. And I think you have a bit where they're all trapped in the wax, and he knows he needs to get them out. So he puts himself on the line, more or less, and lets himself get beaten up by Valentine. And so she puts more and more weight on it, but her punches, even though they really mess up Usopp, break the wax, crack the wax, and let the other people go free so they can fight back. And so
he took 100 tons to the face How much weight did he
Hey,
take?
that's light.
Kilos?
That's light work. That's light work.
100
for Usopp,
kilos,
to be
100
honest.
kilograms.
Yeah.
Usopp, we do have to have a conversation with Usopp's durability because that man has taken so many hits to the face.
His skull should have been crushed, bro.
Yeah, I mean, Usopp may end the series with like major CTE by the end,
So
because
football
boy,
player?
yeah, he takes some nasty hits. And this
I was
this
swollen
fight
shut.
feels very Power Rangers, in a good way. Especially when Usopp like fires his fire star shot into the guy's mouth, and then he has like the fire explosion, and he shoots it at Zoro, and like Zoro lights his swords on fire and breaks out. It feels very Tokusatsu.
Yeah, I'm best for that.
I think Luffy does get I think Usopp also helps Luffy get out of his paint trap, and helps beat Miss Golden Week. And then Luffy goes on to support like Dory, fight Mr. 3. I feel like Luffy was having way too hard of a time fighting Mr. 3, but that is once again.
I think I actually rewatched the Little Garden in the anime recently. And I liked how this arc in the live action was adapted. I forgot that the fight in the anime, granted they didn't do this, but like in the anime, Mr. 3 made like some kind of like wax robot that allowed him to fight on par with Luffy.
That's what I remembered.
Yeah.
He did do that, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. And I was waiting for it. I was waiting for the wax robot, bro. I was like, oh, it's going to look so cool in live action. Like, what if we didn't do that? I'm like,
and it's kept out, unfortunately.
Budgetary reasons,
Which I think without it, it's just like, okay, whatever. But they took, I feel like Luffy spent a lot of time.
Hammers in a shield, brother. I guess.
They spent a lot of time with Luffy just going through like random wax dummies. But no, they did. It's an interesting bit. But this was mostly to highlight Usopp's growth. And honestly, rewatching Little Garden, when I rewatched Little Garden, I was surprised at how much Usopp. Like, I didn't even remember him doing that much, but like Usopp also was pretty clutch in the anime in this part as well. I'm just like, wow, both versions. He's still
he came through.
Yeah, he came through and is doing more than he did on Elbaf. Crazy.
Well, Elbaf isn't over.
Yeah, you're right.
We don't know how Elbaf will end.
Gotta believe.
I for what
so and also Sanji's fighting the Unluckies.
Yes.
Where he's fighting like an otter and a vulture.
And a vulture. There you go.
Yeah, Mr. 13 and Miss Friday. The vulture has like a mounted gun, mounted minigun, and the otter has these like shell shurikens. It's a crazy fight.
Yeah.
Nah, I messed with it. And before that moment, he's on the phone with the leader of the organization, Mr. Zero, who could be anyone.
Could be anyone.
But a little fun thing I picked up on the scene is that when before the Unluckies came, and Sanji's like, "Yo, I'm just gonna put you on hold for a little bit," and he puts the phone down. The hold music is the second opening of One Piece.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. There's a couple of musical Easter eggs in this too, for sure.
That's a good Easter egg.
Yeah,
it is funny because he beats the two Rogue members, and then like later on, Sanji's like, "Yeah, and I had to fight two Rogue members too." And he's like, "Well, who? Who's you have to fight?" He's like, well, he doesn't want to talk about the trouble he had with an otter and a vulture."
But you know what the irony of that is? Here's the irony of that, is that all Baroque's members that we've seen so far are afraid of the Unluckies. Yeah, they're like the executioners of Baroque works.
Yeah, so they're at least high up
and
in the
Sanji soloed them.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal with the
power scaling is so wild in this show.
And
bro.
also how did How did they get hired? What's the process? Did they show up one day? You know, who knows?
Sub-Zero had a job for them.
Right? He's like, you're the best in the business.
So they defeat the Baroque Works members. They put him on the back foot. I think Mr. 5 died. I think Zoro kills Mr. 5. And then I'm pretty sure Mr. 3 kills Miss Valentine.
Yeah, because he cuts his body with burning swords. Yeah, he's probably donezo.
So, you know, that's going on, but they make it out. They make it out of Little Garden, and the Giants do like a send off for them, where they do the Hako sovereignty and blow away the big goldfish and cut them away to get on to their next destination. And they're heading to Alabasta, but unfortunately, Nami is sick. Nami, and they play this up very well. This is a very serious thing, because they're enjoying each other's company. They're having a nice little party, but Nami's not feeling good, and like she collapses outside, and because she picked up like some sort of disease, like a tick, on Little Garden, and it's a prehistoric thing, and very ill at this moment. And there's a bit where she wakes up, and you know she's kind of weak and in and out of it. And, you know, Sanji's like, well, that was just, I just passed out. It's not a big deal. And he's like, that was 4 days ago, you know. And so they have to make it to the nearest island they possibly can, and that is Drum Island, which is supposed to be renowned for their doctors, but they are going through a bit of a doctor shortage at this moment.
Yeah.
Because Wapol, who is like the, you know, evil king, who's the son of a good king, has taken over, and he's basically monopolized all the top doctors in the land and kind of captured them and exclusively uses them and kind of monetizes their abilities, denying the rest of the country help. And bad guy, but he has gone on the run because a mysterious pirate named Blackbeard has showed up and disrupted things in Drum Island and tore the island apart already. And instead of sticking around and trying to fight, he saw his power and then dipped instantly. And, you know, so all kinds of hints, not a great guy. But they go to get Nami this help that she needs. And I'll say the crew dynamics here are great. All right. And I hate to invoke this, but we have to. Shipping. You know, sometimes people like to engage in the process of shipping two characters together. And never in my wildest dreams would I have shipped Luffy and Vivi together. But after seeing live action, I kind of see it.
You think it's Luffy and Vivi they're
How?
going for?
Where? When? What?
Luffy and Vivi. Okay, all right.
Explain it.
Okay.
I need to break it down.
I'll say the first moment I was like, I can see something here, some chemistry, is when they're in Little Garden and he grabs her and they're both on the dinosaur together.
Okay.
Right? I can see there's some chemistry building, right? And there's other moments where they're like together, they're talking.
When she calls him a child because he talks about getting ice cream sundaes at 3 a.m. And then she's like, that's very childish of you. And he just like freezes and she's just like, I'm sorry. I was wilding out. Like, I just got to get home. He's like, we'll get you home. Like, don't worry about it. Like, that was chemistry? That was romance to you?
There's different moments of where they're together. Okay, there's specific moments where Vivi's looking in Luffy's eyes. Okay, and then she gains a kind of like admiration. All
right, bro.
I'm just saying, this is what fuels shipping. This is. I'm not crazy.
You know what's crazy?
I'm not crazy. Okay,
you know what's crazy?
I'm not crazy.
That's ridiculous. But there is, for the live action, there is like a pair that like I'm seeing. And like by the end of the
I'm seeing too. I thought you were gonna say something.
I'm bringing it up. I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
We might be on the same wavelength because I'm thinking.
I'm getting there.
Nami and Vivi. I know it's maybe. I could see it. I'm thinking Nami and Vivi.
I was gonna say Nami and Sanji.
You're kinda
y'all are
right.
killing me. Y'all are killing
Supa,
me.
you're
Y'all are
kinda
killing
right
me. Y'all
there.
are killing me.
You see
No,
it too,
you're
Beto, right?
Y'all are killing me.
You see it too, right?
I can see it. Okay, but I'm countering. Okay,
I thought
what's the last shot of the Straw Hats as a crew? What's the
Nobody's
last shot?
guessed the thing I was gonna say. This is
The last
crazy,
shot, the last shot of them as the last episode as they're pulling together, right? And they're all looking up at the things, right? Luffy put an arm around Vivi, okay? And they're together. I'm just saying, think about that. Also,
Man, this is crazy, bro.
Also, the Sanji Nami vibes are like super heightened because Sanji they dropped
They
his
are.
pervert. They
Yeah.
dropped his pervert gag,
Yeah.
and now he's just charming. He's just charming as charisma.
Yeah.
And yeah.
That's the most craziest part that I'm like, Sanji's really cool in
I'm
this
not gonna
season.
lie. The scene where Nami comes into the cabin and just like a bikini top, I was like, oh, here we're gonna get the Sanji over the top reaction, and we just didn't get one. Never happened. And I was just like, I don't hate that. That's okay. That's okay with me because there were some opportunities for them to make it somewhat uncomfortable for the viewer, and they said, what if we didn't make it uncomfortable for the viewer?
Mhm.
What if we just decided to have Nami in a bikini top and let that be what it is? I'm like, hey, that's okay with me, One Piece writers.
But
That's fine.
yeah. So shipping aside, we get some really.
Bro. Let me
what's
throw
your
out my
ship? What's your
let me throw out my ship. Let me throw
Yeah,
out my
what
ship.
did I miss?
It's my ship. Here it is.
Let's see where your ship is landing.
And it was only for one scene. It was only for one scene. So this made lack credence. Usopp and Vivi.
What?
Usopp and Vivi.
Usopp and Vivi.
Oh, the
Usopp
workshop
and Vivi.
scene? Okay.
The workshop scene. The workshop
Okay.
scene.
Yeah.
The workshop scene. There was some chemistry there.
There was some chemistry.
I was seeing. And I was just like, what? What's happening? I literally
this
paused.
is the
I was
issue
like,
in this live action cast
they're
all beautiful. They're all beautiful, and they all have great
Our
chemistry.
beautiful Squidward. It's all beautiful Squidward.
Yeah, and it's almost every scene you're like, really? and that was just not present. That was not present in the anime or manga, but because of all these beautiful people running around, you're like, well, actually.
There was another one that came to my mind. But this one might be a bit more later in down the season, or not season, but down the series. Maybe like after season 5, it'd be like Robin and me, but that's
whoa. Hey,
I might be predicting it. I look at it.
Actually, you know what? I was saving this because we got some people on the pod, right? I'm gonna take their shine. I have a message. Okay, I have a message for one Lira Bova. Okay. All right. So if you're not Lira Bova, please skip
Here we
ahead.
go.
All right.
Here we go.
I may be young, but I am ready
Oh my God.
to give you all of my love. Lyra, DMs are open.
Now we're down one viewer. That was her.
We just lost 2 subscribers.
Okay. All right. Because what is this the episode with see if this episode or next episode that has the bit where Robin gives Wapol the devil fruit. And
I didn't see that episode until very recently. And so your statement of like, man, she's something. I'm like, yeah, she looks good. And then I looked at the episode. I was like,
yeah, I get Sanji.
Now I understand where Bait's coming from.
I understand. Sanji, he's just another me, bro.
He's just another me for real.
He's another me for real. I get it.
He's another me for real.
It's ridiculous, man.
So Anyways, anywho,
Elite milk. Keep going.
So Nami is they're trying to get Nami to Drum Island. There's a kind of a dispute, but they're like, okay, there's one doctor left, but the doctor is like this, they call her a witch, and he's at the very top of this mountain pass, in the old king's castle, and they have to make their way up there. And it's like, well, there's one path that you can make, but it's going to take like a while, and we need to do this now by the end of the night. So the only way to get up there is to climb like this kind of like cliff face and go all the way up. So Luffy straps Nami to his back and makes that climb with Sanji. Both of them climb. It's very arduous. Meanwhile, Zoro and Usopp and Vivi are like watching over the town. And you brought up with the your Usopp Vivi moments. You do have a bit where Usopp, which I like, throughout the show, he's always working on something. He's always building something, working on something, and you can see him in the background kind of like tinkering with things because he's trying to be useful. And he's like, well, he even tells Zoro, you either gotta do something, man, or like you can't just be here and be like,
because he's like he's kind of like helicopter momming.
Yeah.
Like Usopp, he's just like, this is crazy. Like,
yeah,
whining over my head.
So Usopp's building a tool that will be used later. And I think they also, at this point, they meet with Dalton, who's kind of like the town leader. Who's a nice guy. He used to be in the King's Guard, but left because he just couldn't take it anymore. And it's a very arduous climb. And Luffy finally makes it up, but he is passed out by the time he gets there. They have a bit where Sanji falls, and I was wondering if they were going to do this because in the manga, at some point when Sanji is injured, Luffy also carries Sanji in his teeth up the thing, and I was like, that's going to look ridiculous and stupid. So they split the check here, and what they do is when Sanji falls, Luffy reaches down, stretches with his neck, grabs him with his teeth, and flings him up. So they have that, but you don't have the visual of him carrying a grown man in his teeth up a mountain.
I don't know that's that goofy. Like
it would have looked stupid
with the size of the characters. With the size of the characters,
it would have
looked
looked
pretty goofy.
Dumb.
Yeah, in the live action specifically, it would have for a while.
I emphasized the scene, but I don't know. Maybe that's me.
So they get there, and
I didn't mind the change though.
They're rescued by a mysterious creature.
Oh, can I briefly mention something that is in the anime but is not in this climb in the live action? It's a brief thing. Snow bunny fight. So in the in the anime, during their climb, they end up like encountering like a parent giant snow rabbit trying to protect its young, and they try to like fight off these snow rabbits for ability to survive. And we see the snow rabbit fur in the live action. When we get like the large Panos style shot of the village, is giant snow bunny pelts. And I was like, oh, they're gonna include the snow bunnies in this episode, and they was like, yeah, no, we're just gonna let them climb. But I do like
they included the snow bunnies.
Oh my god, I can't. Okay, all right. I knew you were gonna. I knew you were gonna do that. I knew you were gonna do that. I refuse to give in to nonsense. Yeah, it's not happening. It's each their own. But I like the gentle nod of like, hey, if you watch the anime, you know what these pelts are from. We're not going to show it in the live action because it's too much to include. We're trying to get to the story a bit faster. But I did appreciate that Easter egg, that gentle Easter egg, and then them kind of just moving past it. All right. So
they finally make it up. They're rescued by the creature, and they make it in. And I think there's somebody beat up with Chopper, who's a little guy, little reindeer guy.
Yay!
And Dr. Kureha. and both of them, like, they're the doctors, and they're getting the help they need. And Luffy is very thrilled to meet little guy Chopper, and we get the best episode, I would say, in the season, IMO Reindeer Shames, where we get the Chopper backstory, and it's really good. Okay, it is.
It's really good. Yeah.
It's really good. When
that's
Chopper was being hunted by people because he was a monster. He was a regular reindeer that ate a devil fruit, the human fruit, which made him into a human reindeer hybrid, and he's rejected by his reindeers because he has a blue nose and he's like different, and he's rejected by humans because he's like a monster. But he's taken in by Dr. Hiruluk, and this actor, which I want to highlight, Mark Herelick,
Is that actually his
does
name?
such a great job. Yeah, born
Wow,
to play it. And he has the same goofy hair and whatever, but it's played so serious, and there's so much melodrama, and the acting's so good. As you get, Chopper's whole like tragic backstory. They nailed it
bro.
So well.
So good.
So well.
Unbelievable.
Wapple, I think you even get a little bit of if this episode lasts, you get the Wapple flashback with Vivi, where they're at the Reverie, and he's being very disrespectful to Cobra. He even hits Vivi, and Vivi has to kind of bear up with it. I cannot believe in the cameos of the Reverie they put King Taco in there.
King Taco.
How'd you feel the representation, Beto?
Oh, I'm sorry, of who?
King Taco.
Oh yeah.
With the sombrero and everything? Yeah.
With the sombrero and everything, I felt. Yeah, it just really felt like
they also have King Hamburger.
Really felt like home. Beto.
Yeah.
They had King Taco and King Hamburger.
Double
that
whammy.
was great. Double whammy.
But yeah. So all this is fantastic. All of this is fantastic. Chopper's puppet looks good. His muscle? His human form is a little I know what they're going for. Like, he's supposed to look like a monster.
Yeah.
But still, it's a little bit like
off-putting.
Off-putting.
I don't think because it's like the first time we see a zone in the series, that in Dalton. So whenever they go to their like human or man beast form,
I think for me, both Dalton and Chopper have their face skin has a weird texture. This is my main sticking point. I think their design's fine, but both of them have a weird leathery texture for their face skin, and that is what kind of takes me out of the design.
Yeah,
and that for me is kind of like the sticking point. Like, I understand what they were going for, but I think I would have liked it if it was even maybe a little bit more smooth. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I think they'll work on the costume a bit more as it goes along, but I see what they're going for.
And I'll say during one little Easter egg for the Chopper scenes is I think Hiruluk is whistling the Chopper, the Tony Chopper.
Yeah.
Welcome a doctor, Tony Chopper. Don't you wanna be my friend? Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, very, very tragic when Hiruluk has to blow himself up, and die, and and Chopper's taken in by Dr. Kuroha to learn medicine, but Hiruluk has like a big ambition to kind of heal the nation, by giving it something to hope in again. Yeah. Unfortunately, Wapple has returned, and they made the munch fruit so horrifying. Oh boy.
They got an upgrade.
Because they got an upgrade because he has apparently created these immortal golems that have emerged and are like Lord of the Rings style monsters that are showing up and like two people put together or with like metal or different things, because his fruit, he can eat things and combine them. he can either absorb them into himself or combine them. So he's turned all his guys into these weird combinations of like machinery and weaponry and human, and they're attacking the village. And so Zoro and Usopp kind of have to hold them off. And they do a okay job. I'm giving them a real 7 out of 10 here. Not their best work.
Okay.
They tried.
did a good job.
They tried. If Luffy had not defeated Wapol, they would have been washed.
it would have been it for the Straw Hats.
No, that would have been it. But yeah, so Luffy is able to defeat Wapol. In a pretty good scene. I do think it's funny that Sanji and Chopper go like mid diff with Chess and KM. Because there's a bit where KM, who's like the Afro guy,
Yes,
is like it's like mid diffing Sanji. And I'm like, why is the Afro guy putting in so much work on Sanji and Chopper?
Hey, he was moving different in this live.
He was moving different. I'm like, wow.
Static Afro.
Yeah, the static Afro guy. This also, I think this entire fight, especially the Wapol bit, it felt so Power Rangers. And when like Sanji kicks Luffy at Wapol and knocks him over. They do switch up the scene a little bit with the flag.
Yeah.
But I think it still works. But yeah, so they're able to free the kingdom. Dalton is made a leader. The cool cherry blossom explosion scene, and Chopper is recruited onto the crew as their doctor. And everyone loves Chopper. And Zoro immediately, when Chopper's crying, picks him up as his son.
As he should.
And we get a little bit of a after scene where they reveal. Well, it's not even after; it's incorporated in. Where they're like, we finally what they're working on. What Ingram and Vivi were trying to figure out was who's Mr. Zero. At the same time, what Smoker and Tashigi were trying to figure out is like, well, where's Soul Head? And it was like Garp had an idea, but he didn't want to do it until it was proven. And they're going to Alabasta because the person who is Mr. Zero is Crocodile, who is a warlord of the sea. And he's in it for a little bit, but Joe Manganiello, Joe Manganiello, is great as Crocodile. He looks great. That costume is great. It's fire.
That was him? Oh god.
He is the aura. Yeah, the aura is just.
Bro.
You can feel it.
Yeah. Crocodile's that guy, bro.
I'm so excited. For
he just
next
is.
Season. I'll say this was a great place to leave it. Great season. I think one thing I forgot to mention is at some point they give Tashigi a fight with Mr. 11.
Yeah, they do.
And they added Miss Thursday, so Smoker can like low differ. And good for them. I would say this is a great season. It handled so many elements a lot better. I would say the subplot was the Smoker Tashigi subplot was a lot better and a lot less invasive than the Kobe Helmeppo subplot in last season. Because that one was kind of but this one actually worked and really contributed. I like how they incorporated Baroque works, how they made it one kind of like extended narrative. I love how goofy it was, and it was a really good season. So for me, if I had to give it a rating, it's not perfect yet, but I would say it's definitely peak, and I would do a kind of mid peak, very close to peak, but it's not there yet, but maybe we can get there in Alabasta.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as we get to that arc, it's going to be a lot different.
Yeah, like I kind of agree with a lot of your sentiments. I had my own kind of gripes with it. I felt like like you said, this isn't perfect. And honestly, in this season there were like moments that I'm like, it didn't quite hit Like I know that they were pulling from the manga. It just didn't quite hit for me. Like I think like for an instance, maybe it was just me. I feel like the scene where Luffy screams "shut up" at Chopper as he's about to join. I, like they kind of added some more words to that. That I'm like, that kind of keep it short and sweet. You know what I mean? Because that was the point. And there's also some other moments here and there. But overall, it's still very well made. The dynamics of the crew is very much felt. The story is easy to follow, even if you haven't watched One Piece before. And what they do pull from, or the changes they do make, they don't like hinder the series at all. And I really mess with it. I mess with it, and the fact that like even though it's not perfect, even though it's whatever, I it's still one of the best live actions I've ever seen. Honestly, personally, it's probably the best live action I have seen. I haven't seen the Rurouni Kenshin ones, uh, so I can't comment off of that. But like compared to like the Bleach ones or the Death Note or Mob Psycho or
You didn't like William Dafoe's Ryuk?
I can't
I'm
say,
kidding.
bro.
I'm joking.
I've seen 3 of the Death Note live actions. All right, all 3 different ones, and each one is like is some real butt. Uh, but no, this one does really good with just the cast it, and even like everyone is in their costumes, and I know some people will be like, the costumes could take us out, but it's One Piece. It's supposed to be like goofy, and I think even with the costumes that they have on, like that a lot of characters have on, it wouldn't take you out of it.
And plus, some of those fits are immaculate.
Yeah.
Okay, Zoro's Drum Island fit. That coat. I want it. I want it, man.
What that plush blue goodness?
Or that Luffy's baseball outfit with the neighbors.
Yeah,
that outfit.
Yeah, that's
I want that.
Fit. That's a good fit, man.
That jersey is actually being sold.
Where?
At an event, I saw a post. I think like Netflix has a pop up somewhere on the West Coast.
Dang it!
And they were selling the neighbor's jersey.
Yeah, the neighbor's jersey is great.
And if any of our West Coast listeners listen to this, feel free to send your boys some merch to really show your appreciation.
Appreciation.
Show love to the climbers. We out here.
That said, with all of that said, I will give this a mid. It's just barely a mid for me. Or not barely. I'll show you where it ranks in the mid area, but it is a mid for me because I don't think it's a bad where it's at, but we could do a bit more. There could be a bit more here and there. It's just not quite. It just didn't quite hit the peak scale for me yet. But yeah, that'll be it for me.
Where does it rank in your mid tier? Is it
okay?
Low mid? Is it mid? Is it peak mid?
It's peak mid.
Okay.
All right.
I'd give it peak mid. Explanation wise, I think it's already been said. Just a lot of it just felt goofy to me, but it's still an enjoyable piece of entertaining television, and I appreciate for what it is. Even it's a lot different from other live action attempts. So onwards and upwards, I guess.
Yeah, that's great. I think for my first ranking, if I'm kind of thinking of low, mid, or peak, I don't want to just rate it against good television. I want to rate it against its contemporaries. And its contemporaries are other live action iterations of anime series. And in that space, it is not low for me. It is not even mid for me. This is probably one of the best live action adaptations of an anime I have ever seen. So I think for my first ranking, I put it into that peak space, and then my sub ranking, which is then based on like how much did I actually like love the series. I think there were I'm a One Piece fan. I can't negate what I know. I can't throw away my years of binging One Piece and during a pandemic where I was cranking through episodes day in and day out and reading through the manga and getting through all the storylines. I can't negate what I know. So I take a lot of that into account when I look at this. I think in my peak tier, I would give, I'll be honest, towards the beginning of the season, I probably would have called it low peak. That chopper arc in Drum Island was, I'm gonna call it I'm gonna call it exceptional storytelling, and it was great in the anime. It was great in the manga. Um, I'm gonna go out on a bit of a limb here, and I'm gonna say so far of all the Triad stories that we've seen, Chopper's story moved me the most in the live action. I think in the anime, a lot of their stories, almost all of them, to be candid with you, moved me to an extent. Like I was feeling emotions for every single one of these characters. When we got to Nami's story in live action, I was really like, I mean, in the anime, I was struggling. I was like, this is horrible. Like, she's gone through the ringer. But the live action didn't really pull those same emotions out of me. I didn't really feel the level of pain and sorrow that I felt for Nami when I was watching the anime. And so for me, I was like, what's wrong? Like why is it not hitting as heavily as it did in the animated series? They didn't change the story so much that I wouldn't feel things. Like the story is almost identical for Nami's storyline. I was like, why am I not feeling that much? This is so strange. I feel like whatever they did, whatever decision they made creatively for Chopper's story, it hit the mark. Dr. Hiroluk story, his connection to 2020 Chopper, their bond, their emotional connection, the small intimate moments they shared together, him pushing Chopper away at the tree. That was hard for me to watch. I think when we get to scenes that are emotionally moving, that's when I can't leave it in a lower tier. I have to bump it up at least a bit. So for me, One Piece season 2 ranks in the peak main tier, sub tier of mid peak. It's in peak mid. It's absolutely exceptional. I was really impressed by it. There are some weaknesses for sure. There are some things that keep it from making it all the way into peak for me, but not many of them. It's only a few things that I didn't love, and I think it kind of went from low into mid towards that end arc. They did a really good job with the Drum Island arc. I was really impressed with it. So, shout out to the Triads.
Shout outs. All right, so I think we're gonna do average since me and Gray are on the mid peak and you guys are peak mid. We can meet in the middle, and we'll call this low peak. That's the official ranking for One Piece season 2 is low peak. Still excellent, great show.
Yeah,
and we look forward to more.
Looking forward to the next season.
And you, dear listener, yes, you can look forward to much more on this channel because, oh boy, I'm putting these fellas to work. They will not escape the content mines, because we have coming up Invincible, and also Steel Ball Run, and who knows? We might throw in a Project Hail Mary. Who can say? Who can say?
Can I see my family?
No. Not until the content is done.
Can I watch a movie that I like?
That being said, no, we will only cover popular slop.
Oh.
No, there just happens to be a bunch of things coming out that like line up with our interests. So we're gonna be covering some things. We're gonna be testing out some new formats. So hopefully you guys can stick with us. If you enjoyed the show, please leave us a like, subscribe. If you are on Apple or Spotify, follow. And we will see y'all soon.
See you
Thank you
later,
for watching.
guys.
Thank you for joining us. We appreciate y'all.
Catch you later.
Catch you later.